Hey, Craig.
Let's get into some coffee talk.
Hey, I love it. I love doing some coffee talk.
Well, talk about what?
Dogs, daughters, whatever. It's coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Hey, Mr. Jason.
Well, hey, Mr. Craig, where are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm in sunny Poipu, Kauai. And where are you?
I am not in Pupu, Kauai. I am in
Pupu.
Huntington Beach or Garden Grove.
You always basically live in the islands by living in Southern California.
Truth. And I decided to take a stroll, so I'm outside and you're outside. I love this.
It's really nice. Well, it's New Year's Eve. This will be,
right.
For the listeners, this is New Year's. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's. And with New Year's and a new decade, the Roaring 20s. Is it the Roaring 20s or the Roaring 40s? Whatever. It's the Roaring 20s.
It's always roaring. Let's just
Roaring.
We got a new decade, a lot of new exciting stuff coming from the dudes, right? That we were just talking about.
2020 is going to blow up. So what's some of the things that we were just talking about? What would you like some little tidbits you'd like to give out to everybody before we dive in?
Well, I think one of the biggest frameworks I think that we learned over 2019 was the whole hire, train, motivate, and make it rain as far as a framework for the agents to follow. Have you been following that kind of framework?
Oh man, I have, and it changed a lot. I used to be of the mindset, and let's go way back. A long time ago, and I cut my teeth in sales in being a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. I don't know if that's come up. I think we've talked about it. But in that world, very similar to this world, in order to make it, in order to be successful, you have to grind. You have to hunt. You have to kill. You have to bring in, and you're in charge. You're responsible for everything. You don't have people giving you leads. You don't have all this stuff that now is around. And I think that coming from that world and doing that kind of hustle, it's almost like a fraternity in that, when you have new people, they're like pledges. Like you want them to go through the same thing that they did, and you expect them to have to earn it.
Right. And does that work?
Your staff? No,
dude, it
doesn't work.
It does not work. I tried it. I know a lot of people that have tried it, and it doesn't work. I don't know. It might work for some agents, but I've never heard of it actually working.
Well, and if it works, it's not going to be that it works consistently with everyone, right? Like you may get one standout that can go and hunt and do this, and they're awesome, but that's a 1 in a million, right? Your typical LSP, and those LSPs that are listening here, I know that you're most successful when you're doing a quote, when you're having the conversation with a prospect and you're doing a quote, because you're not making enough off of each transaction to warrant spending hours to get one to come in.
Right.
You can't spend two hours to get a quote and then we're triple and it's a no-go. You're like, well, I just spent 3 hours to try to get this person and we're not even close. Like how dejecting is that, right?
Now, when you used to do that model, was that in the horse and buggy age? And how did you get your message out?
It was actually before there were even horses on this planet. We rode dinosaurs at that point in time. That was another interesting side hustle where we actually domesticated the velociraptors, but we don't need to get into all that.
You were paid in stones and I don't know, piggyback rides or something.
It's back when lava rock was more valuable.
So I'm excited about that. So with that framework, I think that the coffee talks should now be kind of around that framework because it is so valuable. I think that we should start kind of deep diving on each one of those subjects.
Right. So we'll talk about hiring. which everybody
Okay.
needs. Everybody constantly has to have help with.
Always.
Right? Whether you're using a sales strengths identifier, you're using team hired or whatever, right? Whatever you're
Right.
doing, we'll talk about all those different kinds of strategies. We're going to talk about hire, train, how to train them. We have lots of tools in this industry to do that, to make people successful. You and I have our own things that we do. There's lots of great resources for that. Hire, train, motivate. That's our number one job as the agent, is to motivate our team, right?
Yep, and motivate ourselves, because if we're not motivated, our team is not going to be motivated.
Right. Well, dude, and I get motivated by having our talks, you know?
Right. Same here.
And meeting.
That's how this started.
I mean, it's crazy. It's the inception of insurance dudes. And then of course, the last and I said most important for motivate, but maybe this is the most important, make it rain. What does that mean, Jason?
Rain. That is all that is marketing, and not relying upon anybody but yourself to bring in some sort of business. A lot of it these days can be, it can be internet leads, live transfers, and then it could be we've had some super creative stuff that works in a lot of markets, where it's like the Candy Girl that we heard. A lot of creative ways, but the bottom line is you got to keep the phones ringing. You got to keep your LSPs busy, because if they're not busy, you're wasting your money.
Right. Because that's a fixed cost. They're there. You're going to be spending money to pay them. Do you want them to get results? When people are talking about different phone systems, some that call more people more quickly, and then, I can't afford that. It's like, well, you can't afford not to have something that's going to be more effective, right? Because if you can get 400 dials out of somebody instead of 200 dials, you're getting twice the activity, which is 2 times faster to getting to another close.
Yep. And with the residuals and stuff, the compound effect of the money you're losing over time. Speed is kind of very important these days. I don't think people understand how the speed can, like, you can save a little money now and sell half as much, but man, if you can spend a little bit extra, you can really start compounding of what you can do next year, the year after. And that's what was huge in my business, is I kept reinvesting as fast as I could and buying leads as fast as I could. And we're hitting some cool numbers.
Dude, I mean, think about this. I remember, when I've talked to, when I said, hey, how much should I spend on leads a day? $100, $50? And you're like, what? Max your car. It doesn't matter. And you've talked me off the ledge a couple times, because this is a totally different model than I've been used to over the last 10 years, and growing to about 8 million is really just going away from the organic, which still comes in and it's great, but to purchase leads and just put the pedal to the metal and then believe in trust the process. I mean, when you're spending $600 to $1,000 a day on leads, it's real money, and it gets scary quick, right? You look at, oh wow, I maxed again. How'd that happen? But then you see 30 days later, you see 50 items closed as a direct result of that spend. It's game changing. Right. It's 50 items you would not have had.
That's why I always look at what is the cost per policy. I look at that more than the monthly spend, because if I'm getting a cheap cost per policy, then shouldn't I have a higher monthly spend? It's a hard for me to pull. I'm spending well over $1,000 a day right now, and my cost per policy is so low that I'd be a moron to pull back on the spend, even though I'm like, crap, I'm spending a ton of money. Well, naturally, that's where your mind goes.
And you can almost not have enough telemarketers also, right? Because they're also making those dials. And even if they don't get a result in that day, like let's say they don't get two quoted transfers, which is kind of what I I look at, and I think you do too, as the break even, right? If they get two quoted transfers, you just at the very minimum, you're good. You came out ahead of if you were buying live transfers. But then let's say some days, that doesn't happen. They get a 0 or whatever. They still made 500 dials, right? They still took 500 leads and moved them farther along in the pipeline, in the sales cycle.
Yep.
And it's all about activity.
It is. It is all about activity. Talk about activity. The insurance dudes are going to try to put out a lot more content next year.
Yeah. So the goal is 365. Maybe we should do 366 so we can beat Chris Green.
I like it. I like it. Cool. Well, it was nice talking to you in Hawaii.
Yeah, shakama. That here, the locals actually, when you do a hang loose, so this is, the Howleys will do it very tight. But what you're supposed to do is actually have your fingers like so loose that it's just like not even really like that.
Because
like I let a guy
if you really were hanging loose, you would not have a clenched fist.
No, you can't. And so
they're
like,
hanging
I waved a guy with a big truck, to go ahead of me. He was going across the street. He started inching out, and I'm like just go, And then he like hardly raised his hand. He put his hand out the window like that, just a quick with his fingers like this. Look at that. I mean,
and it looks like a lazy hang loose, but with the meaning of hanging loose, you can't hang looser than that.
No, and it's like, thank you, you're awesome, yeah, brah, a lot of things all at once. So, there you go, some more knowledge nuggets.
I love it. I needed that.
Mm-hmm. You did. Well,
I need to hang loose. I think we all do.
There's actually a swell, so I am going to go into the water.
You do it, buddy.
Yep. But
all right, I'll see you.
That's awesome.
I'll see you when you get back.
Yeah, and hey everyone, enjoy you have just witnessed the first coffee talk of the year. That's a coffee talk.
Of the new decade.
The new decade. Thousands
and so
to come.
everybody subscribe. So please subscribe to all the channels right now, because we're going to start releasing a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
If you haven't gone on iTunes and left a comment, a review, some stars, what's wrong with you?
I don't know what's wrong with you.
I don't know what's wrong with you. All right, guys.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.